Listen up. Sit down. Shut your mouth for just a moment, because I'm not here to coddle you or feed you some fairy tale about how the world works. No, I'm here to rip off the Band-Aid, tear open the wound, and show you what's underneathly brutal and real. You want honesty? Fine. Here it is. No one gives a damn about you. Not really. Sure, they'll smile at your face, nod along to your words, pretend they care, but deep down, they're waiting for their turn to speak, their chance to use you, to take from you, until there's nothing left but an empty shell. And when that day comes, and trust me, it will, they'll toss you aside like yesterday's trash, without so much as a second thought. You know why? Because people are selfish. Selfish to the core. They don't love, they consume, they don't cherish, they exploit. Love? Ha! What a joke. Love is just another word for possession, for ownership. It's a leash disguised as a ribbon, tied tight around your neck while they yank you wherever they please. And you let them. Oh, how you let them. You gave them everything, your time, your energy, your Suland. What did you get in return? A pat on the head and a promise that meant nothing. Pathetic. Here's the thing. Stop begging. Stop pleading. Stop trying to fix what was never broken in the first place. You think if you try harder, if you cry louder, if you sacrifice more, they'll finally see you, finally value you? Newsflash, they won't. They can't. Their vision is clouded by their own greed, their own need to dominate, to control. So do yourself a favor and cut the strings. Walk away. Don't say a damn word. Just leave. Let the silence scream louder than any apology ever could. Trust me, it'll be the only time they truly notice you. When you're gone. Isn't that ironic? The moment you stop giving them attention, validation, scraps of your shattered self, that's when they start to panic. That's when they realize they've lost something, or rather someone they didn't even know they needed. But guess what? It's too late. You're already out the door, leaving behind nothing but echoes of your absence. And those echoes, they'll haunt them. They'll sit in the quiet you left behind and wonder where it all went wrong. They'll replay every conversation, every argument, every lie they told themselves to justify using you. And slowly, painfully, they'll come to terms with the truth. They drove you away. They destroyed you. And now they have to live with it. But this isn't just about them, is it? No. It's about you. About the nights you spent staring at the ceiling, questioning everything. About the mornings you woke up feeling hollow, wondering if you were enough. Wondering if anyone would ever truly see you, truly hear you. Spoiler alert, they won't. Not unless you make them. Not unless you force them to look at you not through rose-tinted glasses, not through the fog of their own selfishness, but clearly, painfully, honestly. And the best way to do that? Leave. Quietly. Without drama. Without explanation. Let them sit in the void you create. Let them choke on the emptiness you leave behind. It's going to hurt. Of course it is. Walking away feels like ripping out your own heart, like severing a limb. But here's the kicker. That pain, it's temporary. The pain of staying, of letting them keep taking and taking until there's nothing left of you. That pain lasts forever. So choose wisely. Do you want to be their puppet, dancing on strings they pull whenever it suits them? Or do you want to be free? Free to rebuild, to rediscover who you are beneath the layers of lies they piled on top of you. Free to find strength you didn't even know you had. Freedom doesn't come easy, though. It comes with loneliness, with sleepless nights, with moments of doubt so heavy they feel like lead weights pressing down on your chest. But it also comes with power, the kind of power that can't be taken away, the kind that burns brighter than any flame. You've got two options here. Stay and keep begging for crumbs of affection. Keep chasing shadows of people who don't give a damn whether you live or die. Or walk away quietly, confidently, and let your absence be your revenge. Let it echo in their ears. Let it linger in their minds long after you're gone. Because here's the truth they'll never admit. They'll miss you. Oh, they'll miss you all right. Not because they loved you, not really, but because they'll miss the convenience of you, the comfort you provided, the way you made them feel important, invincible. They'll miss the version of themselves they were when you were around. But missing you isn't the same as loving you. Missing you is just regret wrapped in pretty packaging, a reminder of their own failures, their own selfishness. They'll sit there, staring at their phones, waiting for a text that will never come. They'll call your name into the void, hoping against hope that you'll answer, but you won't. You'll be gone, and they'll be left with nothing but the sound of their own mistakes, bouncing back at them in the silence you left behind. And you'll be stronger, smarter, wiser. You'll look back on this moment, this decision to walk away, and you'll smile, because you'll know it was the best choice you ever made. Their loss will become your gain, their betrayal, your liberation, and that's the sweetest victory of all. Still standing there? Still hesitating? Why? What's holding you back? Is it fear? Fear of being alone? Fear of the unknown? Typical. That's exactly what they want you to feel. They want you to believe that without them you're nothing, that your worth is tied to their presence, their approval. Lies, all of it. Your worth has been inside you this whole time, buried under layers of their manipulation, their deceit, buried under your own fear. Fear of walking away, of starting over, of facing the world on your own. But here's the secret. You don't need them. You never did. They made you believe otherwise. It was always a lie. So stand up straight. Square your shoulders, look in the mirror, and tell yourself, I am enough. Say it until you believe it, until it becomes a part of you, until it sets you free. And then, when you're ready, walk away. Don't slam doors, don't throw tantrums, just leave. Quietly, calmly, let them feel the shift in the air when you're gone. Let them feel the weight of what they've lost. They'll look around, expecting you to still be there, waiting patiently like you always were. And when they realize you're not, that's when it'll hit them, the silence, the emptiness. It'll be louder than any words you could have said. And you'll be free. Free from the chains they wrapped around you, free from the doubts they planted in your mind. Free to rebuild yourself, to find the pieces of you they tried to erase. It's going to be hard. It's going to hurt like hell, but it'll be worth it, because for the first time in a long time, you'll be living for you, not for them, not for their validation, not for their love. Just for you. And when they come crawling back, and they always do, you won't be there to catch them. You won't be there to pick up the pieces, to fix what they broke. They'll have to face the mess they made, and it'll destroy them. Because they thought you'd always be there. They took your kindness for weakness, your loyalty for granted. They thought you were their safety net, their backup plan. But now they're on their own. And that's when they'll realize the biggest mistake they ever made was letting you go. But by then, it'll be too late. You'll be gone, and they'll be left with nothing but the echoes of your silence. And you'll be stronger. You'll be wiser. You'll be a version of yourself they can't even begin to comprehend. You'll look back on this moment, this choice to walk away, and you'll smile, because you'll know it was the best decision you ever made. You'll know that their loss was your gain, that their betrayal was your freedom, and that that's the sweetest sound of all. Still clinging to hope, still holding on to memories that are nothing but ghosts now? Let me tell you something. Those memories are dead. They were buried the day they chose to betray you. The day they looked you in the eye and lied. You're holding onto a corpse, a rotting carcass of what once was. And the longer you cling to it, the more it poisons you, festers inside you like a disease. It's time to let go, time to walk away, and do it quietly. Don't give them the satisfaction of knowing they hurt you. Don't waste another ounce of your energy, your time, on people who don't deserve it. They'll call you cruel. They'll paint you as the villain in their story, because it's easier for them to blame you than to face their own flaws. Let them twist the narrative however they want. It doesn't change the truth. It doesn't change what they did. And it sure as hell doesn't change what you're about to do. You're gonna walk away, and you're not gonna make a scene. You're not gonna beg for closure, for answers. You're going to leave quietly, like a shadow slipping through the night. Because your silence will say more than any words ever could. It'll say, I'm done. It'll say, you can't hurt me anymore. It'll say, I'm gone and I'm never coming back. And that's when the real pain will start for them. Not when you screamed, not when you cried, but when they realize they can't reach you anymore. When they realize that they've lost you for good. It'll hit them like a punch to the gut, leaving them gasping for air. They'll scramble to call you, to text you, desperate for any piece of you they can hold on to. But you won't answer. You'll be gone. And they'll be left alone with the echo of their own mistakes. In that silence, they'll start to see it. They'll start to realize who you really were, what you really meant. They'll remember the times you picked them up when they fell, the times you gave when you had nothing left to give. They'll remember the nights you stayed up with them, listening, comforting, sacrificing your own peace for theirs. And they'll realize that they'll never find that again. They'll search for it in others, trying to replace you, but it won't work. Because there's only one you. There's only one person who loved them the way you did, who gave as selflessly as you did. And that's the irony of it all. They didn't appreciate you when they had you. They took you for granted, used you up, and tossed you aside. But now, they'll feel your absence like a wound that never heals. Now they'll see you in every person they meet, comparing, longing, but never finding anyone who measures up. It's a cruel kind of justice, isn't it? The very thing they took for granted is the thing they'll miss the most So go on, leave them behind, let them drown in the silence you leave. Let your absence become their punishment, their reminder of what they lost. And you keep moving forward. Don't look back, not even once, because the moment you look back, you give them power again. You give them a chance to pull you back into their chaos, their lies, and you're better than that. You deserve better. Walk away quietly, with your head held high, and let them hear the sound of their own regret echoing in the emptiness you left behind. Because that sound, it's louder than any scream, more piercing than any insult. It's the sound of realization, the sound of them finally understanding that you were the best thing they ever had. And now you're gone. And in that moment, you'll find your peace. You'll find your strength. You'll realize that walking away wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something new, something better, something that's yours alone. You're still here, aren't you? Still standing at the edge, toes curled over the precipice, hesitating. Why? What's holding you back this time? Is it fear? Fear of the unknown? Fear of being alone? Or maybe, just maybe, it's something deeper, something uglier. Guilt, regret, that little voice in your head whispering, what if I'm the one who's wrong? What if I'm the bad guy? Let me stop you right there. You're not. Stop twisting yourself into knots, trying to justify their actions, trying to rationalize their betrayal. Their mistakes are theirs to carry, not yours. So drop the weight, let it fall. It was never meant for your shoulders. Anyway, let's talk about guilt for a second. Oh, guilt, it's a sneaky bastard, isn't it? It creeps up on you when you least expect it, wrapping its cold fingers around your throat and squeezing until you can't breathe. It tells you that you owe them something, that you owe them forgiveness, loyalty, another chance. But here's the thing. Guilt is a lie, a trick, a manipulation tactic they planted inside you without you even realizing it. They made you believe that walking away makes you cool, that silence makes you heartless. But it doesn't. Walking away makes you smart. Silence makes you strong. And every ounce of guilt you feel, it's just proof that you cared more than they ever did. Think about it. When was the last time they felt guilty for what they've done to you? When was the last time they lost sleep replaying their own mistakes, questioning whether they were enough, whether they could have done better? Never. Because they don't care. They don't think about you the way you think about them. To them, you're an afterthought, a convenience, a tool, a distraction. And the moment you stop serving their purpose, they discarded you like yesterday's trash. So tell me, why should you feel guilty for leaving someone who never gave a damn about you in the first place? But let's shift gears for a moment. Let's talk about something else, something bigger, something darker. Power, real power. Not the kind they flaunt, not the hollow bravado or the shallow dominance they try to exert over you. No, I'm talking about the kind of power that comes from within, the kind that scares people like them. The kind that makes them scramble, panic, claw at the walls as they realize they've lost control. That's the power you hold now. That's the power you'll wield when you walk away. Because walking away isn't just an act of self-preservation. It's an act of defiance. It's saying, you don't get to break me anymore. It's taking back everything they tried to steal from you, your dignity, your worth, your Suland, holding it close, where they can't touch it. And trust, Meth will feel it. They'll feel the shift the moment you decide to leave. It'll be subtle at first, almost imperceptible, a hesitation in their voice, a flicker of uncertainty in their eyes. But then it'll grow, it'll swell like a storm brewing on the horizon, dark and relentless. They'll start to notice the cracks forming in the foundation they built around you, the lies unraveling, the manipulations losing their grip. And when they finally realize what's happening, when they see that you're slipping through their fingers like sand, they'll lash out. Oh, they'll lash out. They'll accuse you of being selfish, of abandoning them, of ruining everything. They'll throw tantrums, make threats, beg for forgiveness all in a desperate attempt to pull you back into their orbit. But don't fall for it. Don't give them the satisfaction. Because every word they say, every tear they shed, every promise they make, it's all just smoke and mirrors, an illusion designed to keep you trapped. Here's the truth they don't want you to know. They're terrified of you, terrified of the person you're becoming, terrified of the strength you've found, the clarity you've gained. They thought they had you figured out. They thought you were weak, malleable, easy to control. But now they see the fire burning in your eyes, and it terrifies them. Because deep down, they know they can't extinguish it. They know they can't break you anymore. And that knowledge, it eats at them, gnaws at their insides like a rat chewing through wood. They'll do anything to avoid facing it, to avoid confronting the reality of what they've done. But you're done playing their games. You're done letting them dictate the rules. You're taking back the power they stole from you, one step, one breath, one silent moment at a time. Now, let's talk about freedom. Freedom isn't just about walking away. It's about staying gone. It's about refusing to look back, refusing to entertain the idea that maybe, just maybe, things could be different. Spoiler alert, they won't. People like that they don't change. They don't learn. They just find new ways to hurt you, new excuses to justify their behavior. So don't waste your energy hoping for redemption. Don't waste your time waiting for apologies that will never come. Instead, focus on yourself. Focus on healing. Focus on rediscovering the parts of you they tried so hard to erase. Do you remember those parts? The ones they dismissed, belittled, mocked, the ones they told you were flaws, weaknesses, imperfections. Well, guess what? Those parts of you, they're beautiful, they're powerful, they're uniquely yours. And the sooner you embrace them, the sooner you'll realize that you were never broken, you were just misunderstood by them, by the world, maybe even by yourself. But that misunderstanding ends now. Starting today, you get to rewrite the narrative. You get to decide who you are, what you stand for, what you deserve. And trust me, you deserve so much more than what they gave you. So how do you start? How do you rebuild yourself after everything they took from you? Simple. One brick at a time. Start small. Start with the basics. Look in the mirror and remind yourself of your worth, not because someone else told you, but because you know it to be true. Take a walk outside and feel the sun on your skin, the wind in your hair. Breathe. Really breathe. Feel the life coursing through your veins, the strength pulsing in your chest. Remind yourself that you're alive, that you survived, that you're still standing despite everything they threw at you. And then build from there, layer by layer, piece by piece, until you're whole again, until you're stronger than you've ever been. But here's the catch. Rebuilding isn't easy. It's messy, it's painful, it's exhausting. There will be days when you feel like giving up, like crawling back into the safety of what you knew then. If it was toxic, even if it was killing you. And that's okay, that's normal. Healing isn't linear. It's not a straight path from point A to point B. It's a winding road, filled with detours, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But each step you take, no matter how small, is progress. Each breath you draw is a victory. And each moment you choose yourself over them, that's liberation. Let's circle back to something I mentioned earlier. Loneliness. Loneliness, the price of freedom. It's a heavy burden to bear, isn't it? The quiet nights, the empty spaces, the absence of familiar voices. It feels like a void, a chasm opening up inside you, threatening to swallow you whole. But here's the thing. Loneliness isn't your enemy, it's your teacher. It's showing you who you are when no one else is watching. It's forcing you to confront the parts of yourself you've been running from, the fears you've been avoiding. And yes, it hurts. It burns like acid in your veins, searing through your defenses until there's nothing left but raw, exposed truth. But that truth, it's worth it. Because once you face it, once you accept it, you'll realize that you're capable of surviving anything, even this. And then there's anger. Oh, anger. That fiery, uncontrollable beast lurking beneath the surface, waiting for its chance to strike. It's tempting to suppress it, to bury it deep down where no one can see it. But don't deny yourself the right to feel it. Anger isn't a weakness, it's fuel. It's the spark that ignites the fire inside you, the force that propels you forward when everything else feels stagnant. Use it, channel it. Let it burn away the remnants of who you used to be, the person who bent, broke, bled for someone who didn't deserve it. Let it forge you into someone new, someone stronger, someone unbreakable. But don't confuse anger with hatred. Hatred is corrosive. It eats away at you, poisoning your thoughts, your actions, your soul. Anger, on the other hand, is transformative. It's a catalyst for change. So let yourself feel it. Let yourself scream, cry, rage against the injustice of it all. But don't let it consume you. Don't let it turn you into someone you're not. Instead, use it to rise. Use it to reclaim the pieces of yourself they tried to destroy. Use it to create something beautiful from the ashes of what they left behind. Speaking of Butelets, talk about resilience. Resilience isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving. It's about finding joy in the midst of pain, hope in the face of despair. It's about laughing louder, loving harder, living fuller than you ever thought possible. It's about proving to yourself and to them that you're more than the sum of your scars. That you're not defined by the wounds they inflicted, but by the strength it took to heal them. And that strength, it's breathtaking. It's awe-inspiring. It's unstoppable. So go ahead, laugh, smile, dance in the rain. Do all the things they said you couldn't, wouldn't, shouldn't do. Show them and yourself that you're capable of so much more than they ever imagined. That you're limitless, infinite, unstoppable. And the best part, they'll never see it coming. They'll watch from the sidelines as you soar, as you shine, as you become everything they tried to prevent you from being. And they'll hate it. They'll resent it. They'll wish they could pull you back down, drag you back into the darkness. But they can't, because you've already risen too high. You've already flown too far, and there's no bringing you back. Now, let's address something important: closure. Everyone talks about it like it's some magical cure-all, like it's the key to moving on, to healing, to forgetting. But here's the secret no one tells you. Closure doesn't come from them. It comes from you. It comes from looking in the mirror and saying, I forgive myself. From acknowledging the pain, the mistakes, the lessons, and choosing to move forward anyway. It comes from releasing the need for answers, for explanations, for apologies that will never come. Because the truth is, you don't need their validation to heal. You don't need their permission to let go. All you need is the courage to face yourself, to embrace your story, to write your own ending. And speaking of endings, this is yours. Not the final chapter, of course. No, this is just the beginning of a new journey, a new life, a new version of you. The old you, the one who stayed, who begged, who bled for someone who didn't care that you, is gone, dead, buried. And in its place stands someone stronger, wiser, fiercer. Someone who knows their worth, who refuses to settle, who demands more not just from others, but from themselves. Someone who walks away quietly, confidently, without looking back. So go on, walk away, leave them behind. Let your silence echo in their ears. Let your absence haunt their dreams. Let it remind them of everything they lost, everything they took for granted. And you keep moving forward. Keep growing. Keep becoming. Because the future belongs to you, not to them. And one day, when you look back on this moment, on this decision to walk away, you'll smile. You'll smile because it was the best choice you ever made. You'll know that their loss was your gain, that their betrayal was your freedom, and that's the sweetest revenge of all.